There's something most men will never understand about attraction. And it's not because it's complicated. It's because it's the opposite of what they've been taught. Most men believe that attraction comes from impressing a woman, from saying the right thing, from showing her how much he cares, from proving that he's worthy of her attention. So he tries harder. He texts more. He compliments more. He explains himself more. And the harder he tries, the faster she pulls away. And he's standing there confused, thinking he did everything right. But here's what no one told him. Attraction doesn't come from what a man does for a woman. It comes from how a woman feels around him. And those are two completely different things. A man can do everything right on paper and still make a woman feel absolutely nothing. Because attraction isn't logical. It isn't transactional. It doesn't follow the rules most men think it does. So if chasing, impressing, and over-explaining kills attraction, what actually makes a woman want a man? That's what we're going to talk about today. And if you're honest with yourself while you listen, something is going to shift in the way you see all of this. Let's start with something most people feel but never put into words. Attraction is not built on similarity. It's built on contrast, on difference, on tension. That's polarity. And polarity is the invisible force that makes a woman feel drawn to a man without fully understanding why. Feminine energy responds to masculine direction, not dominance, not control, direction. There's a difference. When a man knows where he's going, when he speaks with calm certainty, when he makes decisions without second-guessing himself, something shifts inside a woman. She doesn't have to think about it. She doesn't analyze it. She just feels it. Her nervous system registers safety. Her body relaxes. And attraction begins right there, quietly. Now think about the opposite. A man who agrees with everything she says, who mirrors her emotions, who asks her where she wants to go, what she wants to eat, what she wants to do every single time. He thinks he's being considerate. But what she feels is the absence of polarity. There's no charge, no spark, no pull. He's pleasant. He's nice. But she feels nothing magnetic. And she won't be able to explain why. Let me give you a picture. Two men take the same woman on a date. The first man leans forward the entire time. He laughs at everything she says. He agrees with every opinion. He asks what she wants to do next. He makes sure she's comfortable at every moment. He's trying to earn her approval. The second man sits back. He listens. He doesn't rush to fill every silence. When she shares something, he responds honestly, even if his opinion is different. When it's time to move to the next place, he already has a plan. He doesn't ask for permission. He leads with calm confidence, not arrogance, just certainty. Now, both men were kind. Both men were respectful. But only one of them created a feeling inside her that she couldn't shake. And it wasn't the one who tried harder. Women don't choose comfort. They choose emotional charge. They choose the man who creates a feeling, not the one who avoids creating any friction at all. This leads to something even deeper. And I need you to really hear this. When a man starts chasing a woman, something breaks. Not on the surface. Underneath. In the dynamic. In the energy between them. Here's what chasing looks like. He meets a woman. He's excited. She's beautiful. She's interesting. She laughs at his jokes. And slowly, without realizing it, he starts rearranging his life around her. He skips the gym. He cancels plans with friends. He stops working on the project he was passionate about. He checks his phone constantly. He starts texting her more than she texts him. He starts thinking about her more than he thinks about his own direction. And at first, she might not even notice. But eventually, she feels it. She feels the shift. She feels that she's no longer with a man who's going somewhere. She's with a man who has already arrived and his destination was her. And that's when the attraction starts dying. Not because she's cruel, not because she's playing games, but because the man she was drawn to no longer exists. The man she admired had purpose, had fire, had direction, and now he's just orbiting her. When a woman becomes your mission, you stop being the man she admired. She didn't fall for a man who was chasing her. She was drawn to a man who was building something, a man already in motion, a man whose life had weight and meaning beyond her presence. Purpose creates magnetism. Desperation destroys it. Every single time. There's something women do that most men never notice. It happens fast. It happens silently. And it shapes everything that comes after. When a woman meets a man, she doesn't just evaluate him on his own. She watches how the world responds to him. She watches how other men treat him. She watches how other women look at him. She watches how he carries himself in a room full of people. And all of this happens before she even decides if she's interested. This is social proof. And it's one of the most powerful forces in female attraction. A woman's brain is wired to pick up on social signals, not because she's shallow, but because for thousands of years, survival depended on choosing the right man. The man who is respected, the man who is resourceful, the man others followed. That wiring hasn't changed. It's still running in the background of every interaction. So when a man walks into a room and other men greet him with genuine respect, something registers inside her. When another woman glances at him with interest, something registers. When he speaks and people listen, something registers. She's not keeping score. She's not making a list. But her nervous system is collecting data. Quietly. Constantly. Let me paint this for you. There's a man. Average looking. Nothing remarkable on the surface. For years, women overlooked him. He blended into the background. He was polite. He was decent. But he was invisible. Then something changed. Not overnight. Slowly. He started going to the gym consistently. Not to impress anyone. Because he made a decision about who he wanted to become. He started reading. He got serious about his career. He cleaned up how he dressed. Not flashy, just intentional. He started speaking with more confidence. Not louder, just clearer. And one day, he noticed something strange. Women were looking at him differently. Women who had known him for years suddenly seemed curious. New women held eye contact a little longer. He didn't change his lines. He didn't learn any tricks. He changed his value. And the world started reflecting it back. Her brain asks 3 questions. She never says them out loud, but they run underneath every interaction. Is he respected? Is he desired? Is he valuable? If the answers are yes, attraction has already begun before he even opens his mouth. Now here's where most men get this wrong. They hear about social proof and they try to fake it. They name drop. They brag about connections. They try to make women jealous by talking about other women. And it backfires every time. Because women can feel the difference between a man who is genuinely valued and a man who is performing value. The energy is completely different. Real social proof doesn't come from what you say. It comes from who you've become. And that leads to the real conversation. Becoming the man others respect. Not for female approval. For yourself. This is where most advice gets it twisted. They tell men to improve themselves so they can attract women. But that's still chasing. That's still making her the goal. The shift happens when a man improves himself because he respects himself. Because he has a standard for his own life that has nothing to do with anyone else. Discipline is attractive. Not because women sit around thinking about discipline, but because a disciplined man carries himself differently. He's not scattered. He's not desperate. He's not waiting for someone to validate him. He's already full. Fitness is attractive. Not because of abs. Because a man who takes care of his body is telling the world something without saying a word. He's saying I matter to myself. I take myself seriously. And that energy lands differently in a room. Leadership is attractive. Not the loud kind. The quiet kind. The kind where a man sees what needs to be done and does it. Where he makes decisions without crumbling under pressure. Where people look to him not because he demands it, but because he's earned it. Self-respect is attractive. A man who tolerates disrespect becomes invisible to women. Not because they're cruel. Because a man who doesn't respect himself is telling her he's not safe. If he can't protect his own dignity, how will he protect anything else? Tell me in the comments, when did you first realize that improving yourself changed how people treated you? I'm curious what that moment looked like for you. Competence is attractive. A man who is great at something, truly skilled, truly dedicated, creates a kind of gravity. Women notice it, not because of the skill itself, but because mastery reveals character. It reveals patience, commitment, focus, and those are the things that actually make a woman feel something real. Here's the message underneath all of this. Women are drawn to men who command respect, not men who are seeking validation. The difference between those two is everything. One is magnetic, the other is exhausting. And women know the difference within minutes. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. There's a moment in every connection between a man and a woman where something invisible gets decided. It doesn't happen through words. It happens through energy, through reaction, through what a man does when pressure arrives. Women test men, not always consciously, not always intentionally, but it happens. And it happens because her nervous system needs information. She needs to know if this man is safe, if he's stable, if he can hold his ground when emotions rise. She's not trying to be difficult. She's trying to feel something. And what she's trying to feel is certainty. This is frame control, and it is one of the most underrated forces in attraction. Let me explain what frame means. Your frame is your emotional reality. It's the lens through which you see yourself, your life, and the interaction you're in. When a man has a strong frame, he doesn't get rattled by a woman's mood. He doesn't collapse when she pulls away. He doesn't overreact when she says something sharp. He stays grounded. He stays in his center. And that steadiness, that unshakable calm, does something to a woman that words never could. Now picture this. A woman gets emotional. Maybe she's upset about something. Maybe she's testing the water. Maybe she had a hard day and her energy is all over the place. She looks at the man in front of her and her nervous system is scanning. What does he do next? One man reacts immediately. He gets defensive. He raises his voice. He starts explaining himself. He tries to fix her emotions because her discomfort makes him uncomfortable. His reaction tells her everything. He's not grounded. He's reactive. And if he can't hold his own emotions steady, he definitely can't hold space for hers. Another man stays calm. He doesn't dismiss her. He doesn't ignore her. But he doesn't absorb her chaos either. He listens. He pauses. He responds with steady energy. Not cold, not distant, just anchored. And something happens inside her that she can't explain. Her body starts to settle. Her breathing slows. Her walls come down because her nervous system mirrors his stability. This is not a trick. This is biology. A woman's emotional state is deeply affected by the emotional state of the man she's with. When he's anxious, she feels anxious. When he's reactive, she feels unsafe. But when he's grounded, something inside her finally exhales. And in that exhale, attraction deepens. Women trust the man whose emotions they cannot shake. Let that land for a moment. It's not the man who performs confidence. It's the man who actually has it. The man who doesn't need her approval to feel solid. The man whose sense of self doesn't waver based on her mood. That kind of man becomes unforgettable, not because of what he said, because of how he made her feel safe without saying the word. Now, let's go deeper. Most men think attraction is physical, that it starts with looks, with touch, with direct advances. But the truth is, for women, attraction starts in the mind long before it ever reaches the body. And the men who understand this have an enormous advantage. Mental seduction is an art, and it's built on subtlety. It starts with voice, not what you say, how you say it. A man who speaks slowly, with depth, with pauses, he creates space. He creates weight. His words feel intentional. And that lands differently than a man who rushes through sentences trying to fill every silence. Then there's eye contact. Not staring, not performing intensity. Real eye contact. The kind where a man looks at a woman and she feels seen, not evaluated. Seen. That kind of gaze communicates more than 1,000 compliments ever could. Pacing matters more than most men realize. Slow movements. Calm gestures. A man who is unhurried in how he moves through the world tells a woman something powerful. He tells her that he's not anxious, that he's not desperate, That time bends around him, not the other way around. And that energy is deeply attractive. Then there's tension. Not conflict, not drama. Emotional tension. The kind that makes her wonder. The kind that makes her feel something stirring beneath the surface. A well-placed pause. A slight smile that suggests he knows something he's not saying. A sentence that ends just before the reveal. These are the things that stay with a woman after the conversation ends. Women respond powerfully to anticipation, to imagination, to the space between what is said and what is meant. Direct advances skip all of that. They remove the mystery. They hand her the answer before she's had a chance to feel the question. And the question is where the magic lives. The man who understands this doesn't chase. He doesn't push. He creates an experience, a feeling, a pull that she can't quite name but doesn't want to let go of. That is mental seduction, and it is far more powerful than anything physical could ever be. There's a reason some men stay in a woman's mind long after the conversation ends, and there's a reason others are forgotten before the night is over. It has nothing to do with looks, nothing to do with money. It comes down to one thing most men give away far too easily: mystery. But let me be clear about something. Mystery is not hiding. It's not being secretive. It's not playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. Real mystery is intentional pacing. It's knowing that not everything needs to be said in the first conversation. It's understanding that what you withhold creates just as much impact as what you reveal. Most men do the opposite. They meet a woman they like and they pour everything out. Their childhood, their dreams, their fears, their entire life history all in one sitting. They think vulnerability creates closeness. And it can, eventually. But too much too soon doesn't create closeness. It creates overwhelm. It removes the space a woman needs to become curious. And curiosity is the engine of attraction. Let me show you. 2 men. Same woman. Same level of interest. The first man talks for hours. He tells her everything. Where he grew up. What his parents were like. What he wants in life. What went wrong in his last relationship. By the end of the night, she knows his entire story. There's nothing left to discover. Nothing left to wonder about. He feels connected. She feels done. The second man is different. He shares pieces. He answers her questions, but not all the way. He tells a story, but leaves out the ending. He smiles when she asks something personal, pauses, and says maybe next time. He's not cold. He's not withholding for the sake of power. He's simply not in a rush. And because he's not in a rush, she leans in. She starts asking more. She starts thinking about him when he's not there. She starts filling in the blanks with her imagination. And her imagination will always be more powerful than his words. That's mystery. And it is magnetic. Now, there's something that sits even deeper than mystery. Something that changes the entire dynamic between a man and a woman. And most men never learn it because they're too busy trying to be chosen. Stop auditioning. Most men walk into an interaction with a woman already in performance mode. They're trying to say the right thing, trying to be impressive, trying to prove they're good enough. And in doing so, they hand over all of their power. Because the moment a man starts performing for a woman's approval, the dynamic shifts. She becomes the judge. He becomes the contestant. And no woman is attracted to a man she's judging from above. High-value men don't audition. They evaluate. When a man walks into an interaction and quietly asks himself whether this woman meets his standards, everything changes. He's no longer trying to win her. He's observing her. He's noticing how she treats people. He's paying attention to whether she brings peace or chaos. He's asking himself if this woman adds to his life or drains from it. And here's what happens when a woman senses this. She feels it immediately. She feels that this man isn't desperate, that he has a filter, that he doesn't just accept any woman who gives him attention. And that shifts something inside her. Because a man with standards is a man worth earning. And women are wired to invest in what they have to earn. This doesn't mean being cold. It doesn't mean being arrogant. It means having a quiet, unspoken standard for your life that you refuse to lower for anyone. That is deeply, quietly attractive. And all of this brings us to the final truth most men need to hear. Stop putting women on pedestals. When a man idolizes a woman, he thinks he's honoring her. But what he's actually doing is destroying the polarity. He's placing her above him. And from up there, she can't feel attraction. She can only feel pressure. The pressure of being someone's everything. The pressure of being worshipped instead of wanted as an equal. But when a man stays rooted in his purpose, when his routine doesn't collapse because of a woman, when his mission stays first and his identity stays intact, she leans in. Not because he's ignoring her, because he's whole without her. And wholeness is the most attractive thing a man can offer. The men women remember are not perfect. They're not flawless. They're certain. They're disciplined, emotionally grounded, playfully confident. They carry masculine direction without force. They hold mystery without manipulation. They lead without demanding control. Most men chase women, but the men women remember never chased. They became the man worth chasing. Don't chase the dream woman. Become the man she dreams about. When things finally start making sense, when patterns become clear, come back to Lies Unmasked and tell me thank you. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.